Trouble you get. Lockerbie, 7-7, Glasgow Airport, Westminster Bridge, Borough Market. The evidently growing Islamic terrorism that is and will continue to grow. Eventually it will grow into a full-bore civil war. It's inevitable. The more Islam you get, the more violence you get.
Yes.
The PSNI is worried about cross-border terrorism. Well, just ask Indonesia, Nigeria, Kenya, Thailand, Myanmar. Global terrorism, all linked to Islam. For our civilization to survive, it must understand what it has faced and defeated in the past. Hijrah, emigration, the Islamic doctrine of emigration stems from Muhammad's migration from Mecca to Medina in 622. This is the start of the Muslim calendar. Not when Muhammad was born, not when Muhammad died, but when he turned into a raping, genocidal, terrorist tyrant. Emigrating to spread Sharia law guarantees a Muslim heaven. Part of Muhammad's dying words were, "Be friendly to foreign leaders," which is why all our priests, media, politicians have a moderate Muslim at their side. Now these priests, media and moderate politicians, they all need to read this book.
Yes.
In one book you can understand all the terrorism that's coming down in the past, at present and in future. His final command was to commit genocide on the Kafirs in Arabia. That's you. You're the Kafirs. The hadith reports that Muslims should smile in your face with hate in their heart. Now I know none of us are sin-free, but this is just a potted history of what Islam has done to Christianity over the past 1400 years. Muhammad died in 632. By 732, it had slaughtered its way throughout the Middle East. It had massacred its way across North Africa, through Spain and into France. And in that time, it had destroyed 3,500 churches on the way, in 100 years. That's a church pulled down and burnt every 10 days for 100 years. In 851, the martyrs of Cordoba, converts, took Christianity from Islam, and other Christians were beheaded and boiled alive on cathedral steps that were dipped in molten lead. And this is what started the Spanish Reconquista. It reignited the spirit within Christianity. In 1453, Constantinople fell, Byzantine, the centre of Christianity for 1,000 years, and it's been utterly destroyed. These are just vague echoes of history, and yet it was an entire Christian civilization. It was first attacked in 674, just 42 years after the death of Muhammad. It had been under attack for 780 years. The Hijrah, the migration, Byzantine Christianity had been overrun by Islam immigration. When it came to the final battle, there was just insufficient Christians left to resist the onslaught of Islam. The whole mission of Islam is to destroy every other civilization, including the cross. It does not care which church. Islam hates us all. It has never changed, and it won't. In 1492, after 700 years and 148 battles, the size of the Battle of Hastings, some battles had piles of heads so high that a man on horseback couldn't look over them. They were prisoners executed, fellow Christians. 1683, Islam was stopped from invading Europe at the gates of Vienna. It was defeated by an army led by our brothers from Poland. And after this victory, Christian technical advantage allowed the West to ignore Islam. Yet it wasn't until 1832 that the Greeks got freedom from the Ottoman Empire. In 1850, Britain, the British Empire, freed Hinduism and Sikhism from Muslim rule in India, from the Mughals. And in 1880, Gladstone stood in Parliament and he said, the Quran, an accursed book, so long as there is this book, there will be no peace in the world. And that is evident to see in every news broadcast, no matter if they call them extremists or not. 1908, before Bulgaria gains independence after 1,000 years of Muslim rule, where the Ottoman Empire used to come round every 5 years and take the eldest son out of every family and conscript it into the, can't remember, the Janissaries, which were the kidnapped children, and they were turned into soldiers for the Ottoman Empire. 1,000 years of vicious oppression, semi-slavery, rape and murder.
Islam.
Just think how far we've come in 100 years. In 1915, my wife's grandfather, while Gallipoli was raging, was fighting his way into Palestine. 1916, the Sykes-Picot Agreement carved the caliphate up into manageable sized pieces. Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Syria, small pieces that you can control. In 1924, Kemal Ataturk dissolved the caliphate. But in 1928, the Muslim Brotherhood was formed, a legal organisation in this country, ready to try and reform the caliphate.
Banned in New York and everywhere.
1942, my father's generation, it was at El Alamein. The Europeans fought a war in North Africa, all over, all the way across the northern deserts. We can't even set foot there anymore. In fact, we're getting invaded from them. 1974, there were miniskirts in Kabul, and liberalism and Western fault lines had started to take root within Islam. And that's when the hippies took over. So when the full horrors of communism were discovered, how it turned into a tyranny that killed 66 million of its own people. And these communists are currently running our councils, our media, our schools, universities and Europe, and their foot soldiers stand over there screaming stupid slogans at us to let in more rapists. And I, for one, will not let them. And Nazism has quite rightly been exposed as a murderous tyranny, yet communism's murder of hundreds of millions of its people are just ignored. Look at Venezuela, the state of that country. These same people over there, they have on their side people who call all white people racists, who call for white genocide, and who state that liberals will get the bullet too. The communists hate our system. They want to bring down our civilization. And to aid them with that, they have allied with Islam. Islam, from its roots, hates the West. It hates Rome and it hates Christianity. I am here to warn you, our civilization is in great peril.
Yes.
Turkish TV has been promoting the glories of the caliphate for the last 10 years. The coup attempt last year in Turkey was the Turkish army's last chance trying to uphold its secular duty to keep Turkey a secular state. Now we've got Erdogan in charge, who said, the mosques are our barracks, the domes our helmets, the minarets our bayonets, and the faithful our soldiers. President Erdogan has recently introduced jihad into the state education system. Turkey is the second biggest army in NATO, and it is turning into a jihadi army. Also, President Erdogan, the term moderate Islam is ugly and offensive. There is no moderate Islam. There is just Islam.
Yes.
President Erdogan is trying to become the new caliph of the new Ottoman Empire. Reliance of the traveller commands the caliph as a first duty The Caliph fights, it's section 0, something wrong, section O, 9.1. The Caliph fights all other people until they become Muslim. All people, Sikh, Hindu, Buddhists, atheists, Christians, both Catholic and Protestant, all people, Islam hates us all. Once under Islamic rule, the killing will not stop. Christianity is all but extinct in its birthplace. The Yazidis have experienced 72 mass murder killings in the last 1400 years. That's a mass murder event every 20 years. It's no wonder the civilization is dying out. Anybody heard of the Zoroastrians? No, you won't. One of the 4 big religions in the Middle East, extinct, killed by Islam. This is what Europe faces. We need either, we've invited it in, the war is here. We either fight it or we have voluntary genocide of our own civilization.
Fight it.
I'm willing to fight. Are you willing
Yes!
to fight?
Go on, Banksy.
You need to fight. You need to get some spirit in you. The threat to global peace is not white supremacism, but the Quran and its murderous mission of global domination. The speakers here today are all described as extremists, yet 47% of Britons want an end to Muslim immigration. This rises to 67% in some European countries.
Yes.
We are not the extremists. We are the majority.
Yes! Go on, Banksy.
We, the majority, insist our borders are closed. We do not want Merkel's madness to be given passports and free entry into this free country. Shut the borders. Now, this unrest will happen. Now, while calling for the First Crusade in Claremont in 1095, Pope Urban II, he called for all his barons to settle their differences and come together to fight a single foe. Now, we in Britain, we in England, if we don't get hard Brexit, a government minister has warned of civil unrest. Now, promise you, there will be civil unrest. And we will shut these borders.
Yes!
Now, this Brexit has opened up a problem within this province that many people in England didn't understand or foresee, and it may well have affected your votes in this way. I've got something that's strictly out of left field that some people say I should ask and some people say quiet. Me, personally, I would like this to happen. Should we invite the Republic to join a not a United Kingdom, the British Free Trade Zone? They don't have to join the kingdom, just to join a free trade zone. That will keep, I think it may well settle some arguments. I want you to think about it. Now, this province holds the balance of power in the UK Parliament. It's time to understand that the word meek in the meek shall inherit the earth, it's not describing a simpering lick-spittle wimp. But meek, the meek people, are dangerous, well-armed people who know how to use their weapons, but choose not to. And that's where you can turn the other cheek. From a position of strength, you can choose not to retaliate. But you must understand that meek does not mean coward lying down in the street, but dangerous and gentle men, dangerous women who know how to behave. And the Muslim population in Britain stands at about 3 to 4 million. Its population grows every 10 years. That'll be 6 million. They already hold serious levers of power. Sadiq Khan, for one, in London, and 9 other cities in Britain. We the majority on the mainland are begging you to get your MPs as the balance of power in Britain. I'm sure the people coming up to follow to speak will explain to you how this immigration affects you, how you are ethnically cleansed, how the rape and the violence grows daily as you are evacuated from your streets to some areas of this Britain now being 98% Muslim. That is not integration, that is not immigration, that's invasion
Yes.
and occupation.
Yes.
And I for one have had enough of it.
Yes.
Shut the borders, please.
Close the borders now. Well done, Banksy.
Thank you very much, Banksy. It's a privilege to have you here with us. Guys, we're here today to oppose terrorism, but there are men and women, some of who are with us today, who did not just oppose terrorism. They actually took up an oath, put on a uniform, and they go to fight to defend our country and defeat these terrorists, and to ensure the safety of all people in this country, no matter what their religion. What a fine job they've done too.